Live from the CYC studios. We got another episode here of Guy Talk with none other than the Queen's finest, if you will. St. Mary San Antonio's Catholic Orthodox Church youth here, high school youth that I have the privilege of being with here in the second season of Guy Talk. We're going to talk about something very related to a previous session we covered about saying no. If you didn't catch it, please be sure to. We are going to talk about, in this episode, God willing, being a leader or being a follower. And I wanted to get your opinion, guys, on the matter. And I have a question for you. Is it, as a Christian, should we always go for being the leader, or is it okay to be a follower? In general, Hero, do you consider yourself a leader or a follower?
So I think like most of the times, I'm a follower.
Okay, and why is that?
Because like it's hard to say no, especially if it's coming from like people you trust and your friends.
So you consider yourself more of a follower because it's harder for you to say no. But say no about what? Leading your friends? You're leading what? Following who?
No, not leading. Like if someone like wants to do something, like I'm okay to go with them like certain places.
But in terms of coming up with a plan or something to do or going somewhere,
yeah, I do that too, but just like not a lot.
more on the like just going versus planning.
Yeah.
All right. So in terms of leadership, what virtues make up a leader? Carl, like when you see leader, what characteristics does a leader have?
Someone who does his own thing.
So So he's apart from the others. And what else? Like he does his own thing. Like, but what makes him a leader? Because he does his own thing. What's the difference between that person and a loner? Someone who's just by himself doing his own thing.
He's considered a leader. He's doing something different.
Well, no, in the sense of leadership. What do you feel makes up a leader? He does his own thing is one aspect. But anything else that makes up a leader?
Someone who just stands up, like
Stands up?
for like the people following it.
All right. Well, what about George? Well, give me some.
I mean, the first two things that come to my mind is like confidence and knowledge. I think you obviously have to be confident if you're gonna like lead people to do something, and then knowledge, because you're not gonna lead people and you don't even know where you're going.
Confidence and knowledge. Carl, one thing you said was stand up. I think what you meant was stand up for the people that are following. I mean, that's really a big thing. In addition to knowing it, sometimes if you're going into Moses, and he's got all these things ahead of him. So Moses, for example, he's leading the people out of Egypt, and he's got a huge task at hand, and the people are taking his lead. But did he know did he know that the Red Sea was going to part? He had trusting God that trusting God that he was going to part the Red Sea.
That he would handle it.
That he's going to handle it, right? Now, what do you think the people of Israel, what did they see in Moses? What characteristics did they see in Moses? That to the point where they would millions of them, follow him into the sea.
Moses is definitely courageous. You don't see anybody just going up to the pharaohs of Egypt and challenging them in different things. So obviously he was courageous, and we saw that in him. He was powerful.
Courageous, powerful. All right. And I like what you also said earlier, confidence. And like, is not someone that is easily broken. Because, I mean, look at our president, for example. If we were to, if any country were to be like, you know, I don't like you guys, for him to go on like the State of the Union address and start crying because we're upset that another country doesn't like us, that would really hurt the people. People would feel like, oh, our leader isn't weak. Of course not. You know, that's not, I mean, I'm just giving an example of our president, but this is we have the picture of a leader, but then I want to get more into the specifics. Rami, what else makes up a leader?
I definitely think one thing that makes up a leader is he has to be honest. And that's very important because if you're lying to your followers, what good does that do? What justice does that serve? Like, you have to be able to tell the truth to your followers and lead them in the right way, whatever way that may be.
Right. And to being honest, is there any, like, what makes someone honest? Like, why would someone say, oh, that person is an honest person?
Maybe from proof.
Proof. And what would it take for proving it to someone?
Like evidence, like.
Yeah, maybe
Previous other time. What's the word where there's like repetition of these expressions of honesty, consistency, perfect. So like when we get constantly reminded, and there's a lot of examples in our minds or in the followers' minds of who makes up a leader, they will continue to follow that person. Now, is there a difference between a virtuous leader, righteous leader, and a worldly leader?
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference?
I could just like think of Hitler, and he led like a lot of people, and he might have like, you know, and he killed a lot of people, and so he was like a worldly leader because I don't think killing people is not right.
So, but was there something different in the followers in from, let's say, someone like Gandhi, or someone like let's use someone from in our church, like Baba Carolus, versus someone like Hitler or Stalin? What's the difference in the people, in what they're following?
I think that the leaders, they want to be more in control. They just want more and more control. And the followers, they just want, like, the people are following them because they think that's going to lead to a better future for them.
Oh, very good point. Let's hold that thought about the leader, because we could definitely talk about the characteristics of both in depth. And as a Christian young man, you know, it is important for us to know what role we should take in the world. So let's hear what some of our other brothers are saying out there.
Do you consider yourself a follower or a leader?
It really depends on the situation, but in a church setting, you do need to be a leader because kids will often go astray, and you do need to be the one ahead, and I will usually be the one to say, oh, I don't think we should be doing that, and we should go to class and attend liturgy and tasbih and all that. So you need to be a leader in a church setting, but it really does depend on the situation.
Both. What more?
Leader.
Probably more of a leader.
Probably a leader, yeah.
A leader.
I guess sometimes a follower, but most of the time a leader.
God's blessings, hopefully a leader.
I see myself as a leader.
I see myself as a leader.
I think more of a leader, but a little bit of both.
What do you think the most important virtue in being a leader is?
I would have to say understanding, because before you go into any situation, you do need to understand what's going on, or else you'll make rash decisions that may not even apply and will probably hurt everyone around you. So
the people that are following you, you have to set a good example of them.
Humility.
Being a leader, you have to take on a lot of responsibilities. You have to kind of accept everything that comes your way and be able to lead the people that are following you.
A leader, you have to take on the position and know that you're responsible for everybody else around you, and the fact that you are actually like running the whole show.
Well, being a leader comes with a lot of things, but I believe the biggest one is responsibility over yourself, over your others, their actions, yours, and making sure that you're positive and productive at all times.
Patience is a big one. Understanding is also another one. But I think patience is definitely the biggest one. Dealing with people, being patient with people, that's definitely the biggest one, I think.
Telling people like which way to go if something is going wrong in their life, I guess.
Setting goals for other people to achieve.
The biggest virtue I'd have to say is understanding. You really have to understand what is around you, who you're dealing with, how to get to a certain place, reach a certain goal.
Having your own views and not going with society. I think like dressing the way you want, not going with like what your friends say, like drugs, alcohol, and all that. Like just being yourself and not caring what anyone else says.
To be a man of your word and just stick what you say.
As a leader, you can't be like a dictator and force people to do what you want. I just learned from Abuna John that like you have to be high in expectations, but at the same time you have to be high in mercy, like Jesus was.
And we're back. So there's a lot of different things, you know, that can be taken from leadership. And is there a difference between someone who's a successful leader and one that is not? I guess if you have a president, for example, maybe there would be a president that actually is like does what they have to do, and then one that was just put in that position. What's the difference between what makes a successful leader?
What makes a successful leader is the way they approach the situation. Like Gandhi, or Martin Luther King, he believed in the non-violent resistance, and he believed that it should be, whatever the problem is, it should be talked out and it shouldn't be used with violence. And he succeeded. People like Malcolm X, for example, he caused riots, he burnt down houses, he took a more violent approach. In the end, Martin Luther King got what he wanted, but like less violently, or no violence at all.
And let's talk about Martin Luther King. I'm glad you brought him up, because something very interesting about him is that his "I Have a Dream" speech. This is done in the '60s, right? And there was no Twitter, there's no Facebook. You know, we had the revolution in Egypt, January 25th, and it was widespread. A lot to do with the power of the internet and these other tools. But think about the power of something that 500,000 people came in the 60s, where in a day, or 2 days, actually, 2 days, gathered that many people to hear that speech. Why do you think they were so compelled to hear Martin Luther King? Versus and then, in church meetings, sometimes it's like, it takes forever to get 10 people, What was the common thing there? Do you guys have any ideas on? Yeah, go ahead.
They all had a common struggle that they wanted to, end.
Mm-hmm.
which at that time Martin Luther King was segregation, and they wanted to end it.
Very good. So there's a belief. There's a common belief. And they're all on the same wavelength. And they believe, and they're aligning their, when the leader is speaking, he's not speaking about himself.
He's addressing the people.
He's talking as if those other people are talking. And as a leader and a follower, it is important for us to know that it's okay to be a follower as long as our beliefs are in line with the goal. You know, and you know, like within there could be one follower. There is one leader, which is our Lord. But throughout that, He's created many leaders that are also being followed, and those followers are being followed. And it's a matter of being able to do what? What is the difference between a follower, and back to the original question, follower and a leader in the Christian and in the virtuous and the righteous route?
Well, a follower and leader, like I'm going to go back to what you said about Pope Kyrillos. Pope Kyrillos and us, we all have the same goal. We're trying to get to heaven. We're trying to have eternal life. But I think the difference between a leader and a follower is the leaders, know a better way to approach this goal and how to actually obtain the goal. And we're trusting in this leader to get us also where he is going.
Very good, very good. And what would you say that there's a sense of responsibility? Yeah, and that's something that that's the price. Can you get what is the difference between, in terms of, why can't a follower have the same stuff as the leader? What's the difference between them? Do you have any idea? The difference, let's say there's someone who's following a leader and a leader who's being followed. What does the leader have that the follower doesn't?
He knows how to approach it.
So in terms of bringing this back to the Christian, our everyday life, what can we take as some types of goals for us, and which direction do we want to be in? Do we want to be in a follower role or a leader role? And how do we get there? Either way. Carl, what do you think? Do you want to be is it fine to be a leader? Is it the right way to be a follower? Does it depend?
Doesn't really matter what you are, as long as if you're following somebody who's doing the right thing.
So even if you are a leader, you're saying to follow, no matter what, follow the right thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's right on. And as you guys are going to grow and become very involved in the service, God willing, you're going to see there's going to be more responsibilities on your end, and that it's going to be outside of yourself, and you're going to be responsible for others. And you might be already in this situation, whether it's younger brothers or family, or even in the church, people that look up to you. There's always a sense, although we are all followers of Jesus and all followers of Christ and all followers of the way, which is Christianity, we are all being led and we're all called to lead. So, no matter where you are in the pattern of a follower leader, remember that, remember what? What are we supposed to remember in terms of this leader-follower discussion? What are we going to get at?
It's okay to be a follower, depending on what the situation is.
What is the depending on what?
Yeah, like what Carl said, depending on if the leader shares a common goal with you, which is going to heaven, it is okay to follow that person.
Yeah, I think right now that we're all followers, whether it's, the servants of the church or the priests or even the Pope, we're all following what like his example. We're all trying to be like him,
Which is okay.
Hero, what's the word?
To be a leader, you need to be a servant.
That's gold. That's right on. And the perfect example is Christ washing the feet of the servants. And he's Christ, So, and he taught us through that perfect example. And I appreciate that. It's a great way for us to close off and to actually lead, which is the call for all of us as young men going in to just amazing new adventures every day. It's all about being a servant and being a servant to our Lord and following his commandments and following his footsteps so that we can be able to take that responsibility on ourselves. Please, we'd love to hear your feedback and any thoughts on who a leader is, who a follower is. We'd love to talk about this again. There's so much to discuss. I thank you guys all for your feedback. And I love you guys, all right? Till next time, glory be to God forever, amen.